There has been a major development in the Washington Commanders head coaching search as the favorite to land the position, Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson announced today that he will be returning to the Detroit Lions to be their OC for the 2024 NFL season, putting him out of the running to be the next head coach of the Washington Commanders. Welcome into the Commanders Report. I am your host, Jack Sperry. We're going to react to this news and talk about what this means for the Steelers or for the Washington Commanders head coaching search moving forward. But do me a favor right now. Click that subscribe button right now to stay locked in on everything that the Commanders do this offseason. Head coaching search, offensive and defensive coordinator search is coming up. We got free agency, the draft. Every time there's breaking news on the Washington Commanders, we're going to have you covered right here on the channel. So do me a favor, click that subscribe button right now. So let's start with the news from Tom Pelissero today, who says Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson informed the Seahawks and Commanders that he's staying in Detroit per sources. Johnson is still only 37 and will be a hot head coaching candidate again next year. But first, he wants to take another shot at bringing a Lombardi trophy to Detroit. So listen, guys, you guys know how much I was in favor of going and getting Ben Johnson. He was number one on my head coach candidates list, my head coach target list this year. He is an awesome offensive play caller. I think he's top 10 in the National Football League already. I think at age 37, he's the next McVay. He is the next Shanahan. He is the next Matt LaFleur. He is the next Mike MacDonald in this league, and the Commanders just lost out on him, and I'm crushed by that. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. What is your one-word reaction to the news that Ben Johnson will not be coming to be the Washington Commanders head coach in 2024? This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube is going to throw you an ad break here at some point during today's video. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me your one-word reaction to this Ben Johnson development. And listen, man, like I said, my one word is crushed. I really wanted this guy. The reports were all saying that they had mutual interest in each other, and it makes you wonder what the heck happened here. Well, Adam Schefter had this to say about Johnson and his asking price, which apparently spooked some teams here. This is what Adam had to say about Johnson, who says, Ben Johnson was not the head coaching lock that people thought, and his asking price spooked some teams per sources. So it's been leaked for a while that Ben Johnson and his agent have been asking for astronomical prices for him to become the next head coach of a franchise. Now, did it spook the Commanders? I mean, it's tough to say. The Commanders and their team did go to Detroit to interview him for the second time today, so it's hard to tell which teams got spooked, if the Commanders are willing to pay that salary, or if Ben Johnson just feels loyal to Dan Campbell and wants to go back to Detroit. It's hard to know what happened, but another possibility here is that the Washington Commanders did not impress Ben Johnson in his first interview that he had last week via Zoom, right? That's definitely a possibility where he met Adam Peters. He met Josh Harris, the owner, and he didn't really like the vibe. He didn't like their plan heading into the 2024 offseason. And if that's the case, this is totally on the Washington Commanders organization for not getting Ben Johnson as their next head coach. It seemed like there was mutual interest. There was reports going around. Everything was lining up for this guy to be the next head coach of the Washington Commanders, and unfortunately, that's just not going to be the case. Now, coming up here, I'm going to break down what happens now with the Commanders head coaching search. We'll go over all the guys that they have given second interviews for, and then I'll answer the question, who should they hire now that Ben Johnson is out of the running? But before I get to that, if you want some awesome Washington football gear, but you don't want to take the risk on Commanders branded gear, I mean, we know they might change their name, they might change their logo this offseason, then this Sean Taylor t-shirt from our friends at Fanatics is on sale right now, and I love that design, guys. I ordered one myself. You can get yours today, chatsports.com/Taylor. Let me tell you guys, these things are selling like hotcakes. We've already had a bunch of orders since we started doing this with our friends from Fanatics. If you use our link, you get an even better deal. So go to chatsports.com/Taylor if you want this awesome Sean Taylor t-shirt in your size before they run out. So now let's talk about who should the Commanders hire to be their next head coach now that Ben Johnson is out of the running. So there's been 5 coaches that have gotten second interviews this past week. Okay, so Bobby Slowik was actually last week. He was the first guy they gave a second interview to. Okay, so he's definitely the only offensive guy that's currently on their list of candidates. Then you got Mike MacDonald, the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator. You got Dan Quinn, former Falcons head coach and current Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. Both of those guys I'd be fine with because they're great defensive minds, and as I know with Dan Quinn, a really good culture builder as well. And then the two guys I really do not want the Washington Commanders to get is Aaron Glenn, who they're interviewing today in Detroit, the defensive coordinator there for the Lions, and Anthony Weaver, the defensive line coach for the Baltimore Ravens. Just don't really know enough about him as a defensive play caller or as a leader of men to really feel comfortable having him as the next choice for head coach here in Washington. And for me, guys, because he's the only offensive guy that seems to be in the running right now, I am all in on getting Bobby Slowik, the Houston Texans offensive coordinator, to be the next head coach of the Washington Commanders. I love his offensive structure. Is he a little bit young? Yes. All right. I don't know if he's a good culture builder and team leader. I don't know if he can command an NFL locker room. All right, I don't know the answer to that question. But the answer that I do know is that defensive head coach paired with rookie quarterbacks usually is a recipe for disaster. All right, usually good offensive play calling and good offensive head coach paired with rookie quarterback is a recipe for success. And right now, Bobby Slowik, man, you look at his record, he helped develop Brock Purdy in San Francisco in 2022, and then he helped develop C.J. Stroud in 2023. Purdy and Stroud, respectively, under Slowik's leadership, arguably had the two best rookie campaigns in the history of the National Football League. So if you're bringing in Drake May, if you're bringing in Jaden Daniels, if you're trading up for Caleb Williams, whatever the case may be with that number 2 overall pick, Bobby Slowik is the type of offensive coach that has proven he can develop quarterback talent. And if you hire a defensive head coach, you're hoping and praying that the offensive coordinator that they hire is able to do the same job. I am not confident in that whatsoever. So if I am Josh Harris, if I am Adam Peters, the new GM, I am doing whatever I can to get Bobby Slowik on the phone today, and I am getting a contract done before Seattle picks him up because Bobby Slowik is the right guy here for the Washington Commanders. It was Ben Johnson. Now it's Bobby Slowik. I'd be disappointed if it's not Slowik at this point, but I guess I would accept Mike MacDonald and Dan Quinn. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Pick a head coach. Which one do you want to see as the next head coach of your Washington Commanders? Type BS for Bobby Slowik. Type DQ for Dan Quinn. Type MM for Mike MacDonald. Or AG for Aaron Glenn. If you're typing AG, I don't know what the hell you're thinking, man, personally. All right, so that'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we are going live right here on the channel when they hire their new head coach. We're going to break down their scheme. We're going to talk about how it affects the offseason plan for the Washington Commanders moving forward. We got a bunch of great stuff coming your way, and I'd expect a decision to be made within the next 24 hours. So if you haven't already, do me a favor, join our family today and click that subscribe button.